Today, we're walking down the yellow brick road right down to classic movie memory lane. Today, we're going to review The Wizard of Oz. It's a classic, it's a favorite of mine since I was a youngster, and it's overall just a movie that's just filled with just the most magicalest and creepiest things for something for at the time that it came out. So let's jump into this because it's gonna be a good one. This movie review is actually a fan picked. This one's going out to Nick Opolwowski. I am so sorry if I butchered your last name. I obviously I can't read, but yes, this was requested for me to review, and luckily this is something that I actually enjoy to watch, that I've watched many times. It's a favorite of my kids. Let's jump right into this, guys. So this movie was produced by Metro Goldwyn Mayer. I think that's how you pronounce that. And most of you might know this by the logo with the lion that roars in the beginning. That's a classic one. And the cast consists of Judy Garland, Jack Haley, Bert Lahr, Frank Morgan, Margaret Hamilton, and Ray Bulger. Those are pretty much like the main characters. Uh, we got the Scarecrow, the Wicked Witch of the West, the Wizard of Oz, the actual wizard, and then we got the Cowardly Lion, we got the Tin Man, and of course Dorothy Gale. I just wish they could have put the actual name of the dog. Don't have that on me. Gotta give props to the dog actors who are very highly trained and know exactly what they're doing. Sometimes possibly even more than the human actors themselves. So again, the movie is based on the main character Dorothy. She is just a girl from a farm. So she's used to the simple life, and just minding her own business. How does that phrase go? Easygoing, not easygoing, but you get what I mean. She's just your average little farm girl who's just minding her own business and just doing her thing. And then one day, she gets picked up by a tornado. I guess that's a usual from in Kansas, I guess. Her house gets picked up along with her and her dog, and they get taken to this magical place that we all know as Oz. And there they encounter the little people known as Munchkins. They celebrate her because on the point of her arrival, she accidentally squished another witch, which turns out to be like related to the Wicked Witch of the West. And that's kind of where the whole thing just kind of turns into, it's this whole adventure. She gets introduced to the Wicked Witch of the East, I believe it was. And there she is told that she is to go on this adventure and try to, go back home. Just there she's instructed, to follow the yellow brick road, which is, kind of like the biggest thing in this movie. That yellow brick road just goes on and on for fucking ever. And along the way, she meets up. I think the first one was Scarecrow, which is quite possibly my personal favorite. Not only is he the most wittiest, but he's also the most coolest looking. And I think, if anything, he's probably the one that's got the song that I think I like the most. Second will be the Tin Man. Third is the Cowardly Lion. But anyway, she runs into the Scarecrow first, and they tells her that he's doesn't seem to do or able to do much because he doesn't have a brain. So that's where they're like, you know what? Let's get together and let's get you a brain and let's get my ass home. And again, along the way, they just end up, running into this wicked witch every now and again, and doesn't seem to slow little Dorothy or Toto or the Scarecrow down at all. So they continue on the yellow brick road, and eventually they run into the Tin Man. The Tin Man is found completely, I guess, frozen might be the correct word. Have to oil him down, and that is where he goes on with his number and sings his little song. And that's another thing about this movie. It's a giant musical. So this is actually, because I know a few people that are not really into musicals. I get this is probably the part I probably should have started it off like this. But yeah, if you are not into musicals, then you're probably not going to like this. But if you are, if you enjoy, you know, a good song or two in a movie, and it treated like an actual performance, you're gonna enjoy this for sure. It's a good wholesome family movie with some really good singing and performances in it. So yeah, it's definitely one of those. So yeah, the Tin Man does his number, and then another appearance by the witch. She seems to come out every single time Dorothy runs into these characters. But the whole point of the witch popping in and out is that she's trying to slow Dorothy down. So the more help she gets, the more that the witch tries harder to actually take her down along with the the rest of her friends. But once again, Dorothy, Scarecrow, and the Tin Man say, "Fuck you, we got a mission to do. Let's keep this shit going." So they hop along down the yellow brick road, and then they run into the Cowardly Lion, which at first he looks like a giant asshole because of how he treats these three characters. And then right down to it, Dorothy gets upset because he's at this point he's picking on the Tin Man and the Scarecrow, and which Dorothy puts her foot down and completely like slaps the lion out of the Cowardly Lion. And then he shows his true colors.
What did you do that for? I didn't buy them.
At this point, he just ends up being like the giant comedic relief in this entire movie. I mean, compared to both the Tin Man and the Scarecrow, he is probably the one that kind of carries on again the comedic act, because he's much more sillier. He's just I mean, it's in the name. He's much more cowardly, so it makes things a lot more easier for him to be funny than clumsy like both the Tin Man and the Scarecrow. But the whole group of these characters from this world are meant to be silly and very witty. So they got all of those elements definitely for sure in all three. It's like seeing the Three Stooges in Wizard of Oz form. I'll leave it at that. So after bitch slapping the shit out of the Cowardly Lion, they join forces and decide to get the Scarecrow the brain, Tin Man the heart, I failed to mention that earlier, and courage for the Cowardly Lion, and to get Dorothy and Toto's ass back home. So they march along the yellow brick road, and as they reach closer and closer to their destination, the witch tries her best attempt to stop them and put like this sleeping, snowing kind of thing that happens, and works for a few minutes, but doesn't seem to work on the Scarecrow. Slightly slows down the Tin Man, but Scarecrow, man, that Scarecrow, I think he really does pull his weight out through this movie, even if he is considered like the dumb one in the group. But hey, sometimes even the most stupidest of characters can sometimes surprise you in movies. Not the first time it's happened. So the witch once again fails at trying to stop Dorothy and her friends. So she ends up, getting on her broomstick and actually taking matters into her own hands. At which point she flies out. The gang actually gets into the city that is Oz, and then there they run into a door or gatekeeper that just so happens to look exactly like the Wizard of Oz. But you don't know this, not yet in this part of the movie. Yeah, they run to a gatekeeper, and they tell the gatekeeper what they're there for, and the gatekeeper says something like,
"But nobody can see the Great Oz. Nobody's ever seen the Great Oz. Even I've never seen him."
and in which case everything just kind of shuts down for everybody, but not for Dorothy. Hell no, sir. Dorothy is determined to get her and Toto back their asses to Kansas. Knock once again, and she tells him the story, and Brent leaves the gatekeeper in tears, and gives in, allows him in, and then they introduce him to the inside of this palace or this city, and it's very bright, very vibrant, very just. It's like seeing Disneyland on acid, I guess. So the gang is welcomed in with open arms. They get a makeover. Tin Man gets a nice buff. He's all shiny. Cowardly Lion gets like curls or like possibly a permanent. I think that's what it's called. It's probably not a permanent, but he's definitely got some curls. The Scarecrow gets stuffed with some more or new hay, and Dorothy gets her hair did, her nails did. So after the makeover, they are visited by the witch herself, which leaves a message in the sky that reads,
Surrender, Dorothy.
At this point, the people of Oz are asking like, Dorothy? Who's Dorothy? And then I guess they eventually catch on, and they're like, oh crap, it's this visitor. So they all panic and they frolic. So the gang takes this opportunity and runs towards what I guess they just happen to know where the wizard's lair is, where they could run into the same gatekeeper that let them in the first place, and tells them that it will not be happening.
Orders are, nobody can see the Great Oz, not nobody, not know how.
But once again, the gang finds a way to go right back in there. So they're in and they're walking towards the Wizard of Oz. The Cowardly Lion completely, freaking the fuck out. And so they walk on to the presence of the Wizard of Oz, which turns out to be a green version of the Power Rangers Zordon. So they walk up to the wizard and they state what they're there for. And the wizard, very in a dick way, says no. The wizard requests of them to bring the Wicked Witch of the West's broom, which seems to be very impossible for the gang. But, that did not stop Dorothy from trying. She is, again, very determined to get her ass home. And so the gang, walks into what is called the Haunted Forest. And at this point, the witch has had enough. So she sends in her minions being those flying monkeys, those very Planet of the Ape looking motherfuckers, but with wings. Those are my favorite, right up there with the Wicked Witch, as long as, these three very wonderful characters. So they're off into this haunted forest, and there they face up against the flying monkeys, which do not fail to fetch Dorothy. They do leave the three characters, the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow behind, pretty beat up. Mostly the Scarecrow, they completely tear him to pieces. But they pick themselves up. They put themselves together, and then build up the courage to go and save Dorothy from the Wicked Witch's castle. So these three guys managed to actually sneak into the Wicked Witch of the West's castle and find Dorothy. And not only that, this part of the movie, how I mentioned the Three Stooges, this is kind of where the Three Stooges vibe happens. It's like the chasing and the whatnots. It's kind of also has classic Scooby-Doo chase scenes, you know what I mean, when they come in back and forth. So that's what happens in this part of the movie. But eventually the witch catches them, confronts them, and little do they know, they find out her one and only weakness, a bath. So they completely, I think this was accidental, if anything. They accidentally hit her with a bucket of water, and that's where the most iconic phrase comes out.
I'm melting! Melting! Oh, what a world! What a world!
So they succeed in defeating the witch accidentally. And then I think the funniest part about this is that when the witch is gone, her minions gladly like hand the broom to them, like, yeah, and they even celebrate that she's even gone, which is like kind of says a lot about her, but mostly about the minions. It's like these guys were zero zero ride or die. Those are fake friends. Those are fake friends right there. So they head right back down the yellow brick road with the broomstick at hand, walk up to the damn wizard, and then once again rejects it. But thanks to the cleverness of Toto, and being that he's a dog and he pretty much sniffed out the actual wizard, turns out that it wasn't even a giant green Zordon floating head, but more of a very stingy and very scared old man, who also happens to have like this like magician kind of look and feel to him as well. But pretty much he explains to them how he got there, and then the gang is just really pissed off and really like ganging up on him, calling him names and stuff like "you bitch." But eventually, being that the very educated man that this wizard is, gave them not exactly what they wanted, but pretty much told them that they already had everything that they wanted. It was just a matter of realizing it, and and stuff like that. It's a very good moral in this movie. It is. It's just like I said, it's just finding out what you're really about, but you're never gonna find out until you actually do it. Kind of like that. So the wizard is done with the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion, pretty much opening up their minds and telling them that what they wanted was always there. Minus the Tin Man. The Tin Man's just a Tin Man. He can't really have a human heart, but you get the point. It comes right down to Dorothy, and he's just like, you know what? I can just take you home in my balloon. And so all the town or all the city gathers up for this final goodbye. And as sometimes life happens, well, just shit happens. The balloon is accidentally let go, and he's off to this adventure all on his own, leaving Dorothy behind and just leaving her in just complete despair and just tears. Which at this point, just like in all these magical movies, there's a princess or some damsel in distress that's crying, and out of nowhere we get a witch, or the Wicked Witch of the West. And Dorothy explains to her what had happened, and all she wants to do is go home. And this is the part of the movie that kind of always gotten to me. It's kind of like a big old fuck you to me. But this is how it goes down. This witch tells her, "Oh,
all you had to do was just tap your heels together with these magical shoes that you've had all throughout this entire fucking movie."
So Dorothy, now knowing this, does so, and magically appears in her bed, where she landed unconscious after the whole tornado bit, and she's confronted by her family and all the family and the three family members who are not the Cowardly Lion and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow. And that's pretty much how that movie ends, guys. Just to really quickly sum this movie review up. But that's pretty much it for that one. Like I said, the movie is good. It's, again, if you're into musicals, you will love it. And if you're not, well, then just give it a chance. It's a really, really good movie. Your kids are going to love it. My kids love it. And overall, it was a really, really just brilliant movie, especially for its time. This movie played around with the black and white and the colors, and this movie is not the first movie to come out in color, because I know it's been Googled several times that The Wizard of Oz was the first movie in color, which it was not. In fact, the first movie to come out in color was called The World, the Flesh, and the Devil, which sounds like a really sick title that I have to look into now. So it might have not been the first movie in color, but like I said, it did play with the black and white and color because it starts off in black and white and goes into color once it's in the Wizard of Oz, which I think was brilliant because I feel like the entirety of the movie where it played in Oz would not have looked as magical in black and white. Maybe to some, but me personally was brilliant move on them, and then goes right back to black and white, which it goes back into Kansas City, which kind of really resembles the the magic that is a very unrealistic fantasy kind of world. So it makes sense why they did that. With hence to real life, which is dull black and white, and stuff like that. So artistically, it was brilliant on them. But that is it for this review, guys. Let me know in the comments right down below if you guys are Wizard of Oz fans or you're not. Leave your thoughts and comments. Let me know when was the first time you ever saw the Wizard of Oz, and if you like the music in it, stuff like that. Let's engage. Even if you don't have anything to say, put an emoji or something. Just let me know that you watch and that you know watch movies or watch my videos and stuff like that. So anyways, that's pretty much it for that, guys. I will see you guys in the next video or the next live, and remember, if you keep watching, I'm gonna keep drinking some H2O. See you guys in the next one. Peace.